How you doing? Welcome to the first ever, and maybe only ever, Domain Shane video. I figured I'd be lazy tonight. Plain and simple, I didn't feel like typing. I didn't feel like doing anything too fancy. I figured it'd be easy to talk into a camera. I'm kind of used to talking into the camera. I do a little TV work here in town. And I figured we'd give it a try. My wife and daughter are away in New York, going to some plays. I tend to go to Vegas, LA, and they like to go to New York and watch the plays, hang around, and do girl stuff. I really don't know what they do. But I'd like to thank my sponsor for tonight, ProTrade, but they're not really my sponsor. They're new advertiser on my blog, and I kind of screwed up the link on the top. So evidently, advertisers like to track how many people come from my site to their site. They think that's a good thing. There's I guess a key element called a link that shows how many, and I didn't really set that up right. So according to my stats, I sent exactly 0 people to their site. It's a good site. I'm sure you heard Morgan talk about it, Ron Jackson. It's fantastic, really. It takes a little bit of learning curve, but it's not that hard, and there's lots of tools on there. I think it's nice, and I think you should give it a try. So they're really not my sponsor, but they do help me out, and they help keep things fun. Because as I've said a million times, I don't do this for a living. I don't sit at home all day. I don't read all the different blogs. I have to do it when I have time. I'm not a professional at this. I'm not an expert. I have a good time with it, make a little extra money, and I have fun with it. So you know, that's what we're doing. And tonight I thought I'd go over some of the posts on domaining. Francois does a good job bringing everybody together, and you know, seeing what's going on. I went through and scrolled through, and I thought there were some pretty interesting things. I thought there were some pretty boring things. You know, one of the things I don't enjoy is I see these headlines and I read them and it's like 4 sentences. It doesn't do me much good. But there's some good things on there, and everybody does a good job. You know who they are. I don't have to tell you who does a good job and who doesn't, and you can tell who put things up for clicks and links and all that. And so the first one I thought was pretty interesting from Name Smash. Again, one of those short ones, not really any information at all. But I thought it was interesting that Frank Schilling said that cloud is worth up to $7 million. And to me, I kind of laugh at that. You know, once it gets past $3 or $4 million, doesn't really mean much to me, since I don't know anything like that at all. I don't even have anything close to that. So it's like a guy saying he can eat 200 million cookies. Once you're past being able to eat like 50 cookies, it really doesn't matter. So I think that's great for the people that sold cloud. Great. I mean, from this point on, it's a darn good domain, but you can put any numbers you want on it. It really doesn't matter. And Dano, who always does a pretty good job, was talking about Justin Timberlake, who I've always been a huge fan of, just because he's kind of funny, and he's a good singer, I guess you could say. My daughter thinks he is. But he's definitely an entertainer, one of the best around. And he also seems to be pretty smart, and when you have connections and you're smart and you have money, you get good things. And he's investing some new, startups. I think it was Deco, and he's obviously been in MySpace now. And with his kind of pull, he can do pretty much whatever he wants. He makes whatever he touches cool. And so when you have that kind of pull, you're going to be successful. So it doesn't really matter. If I were, a company, I'd want him involved. I'd give him shares of the company for $1 just to have him say that he's part of the company. So I think that's always pretty interesting. Another thing is Michael Berkins. He does a good job. He's that guy that does sit in front of the computer all day. There's no doubt there's something posting every day. He and TechCrunch, he must have an IV of TechCrunch into his blood, because that's all I hear about. Not a bad thing. That's just I don't have the time to do that, but that doesn't mean that's good or bad. But I saw you had a nice list of what sold, and I saw free music download sold for $45,000, short hairstyles for $18,000, and then a lot of typos. And I thought it was pretty funny that DC Mike, or him from Wanna Develop, said once Berkins put a post up there about the typos and how how valuable they could be, that the prices went up dramatically. And it's kind of ironic that Mike was saying that he hated when Namejet put up a list that had no bidders as being one of the top names, that he hated when it did that because it drove up the prices. And I'm thinking the people that were looking to buy some of these typos for pretty cheap didn't get them so cheap once he put it up, because they all became expensive.